Hello, everyone. To the family, dignitaries, friends of Miss Aretha Franklin, it is with sad eyes and a very heavy heart that I stand before you today to celebrate our Queen, Aretha. I was introduced to Aretha by my mother. We grew up on the west side of Chicago. And before this thing called the women's rights, equal rights, women's movement, before those catchphrases were out, Aretha and my mom, somehow they connected through the music. My mom was from Vicksburg, Mississippi. And in the 60s, in the 70s, my mom would sit in the windowsill humming the words to I Say a Little Prayer for You. And Tyler, my mom was no different than yours. I seemed to always know what was going on between my mom and dad by Aretha's music. My father had just lost his job, so the music, I Say a Little Prayer for You, meant a lot to us in the household at that time. Aretha found a way to comfort my mom and to comfort us all during those troubling times. I got to know Aretha personally when I first got here to Detroit. I was introduced to her, Karen, Sabrina, Kincaid. It was actually the first family I met when I got here to Detroit. And I see a lot of my friends in the audience, and I know a lot of you are smiling and thinking about how I was when you first met me and how naive I was about the world, about this thing called celebrity. I didn't know how to pay my bills. I didn't know how to pay a phone bill, electric bill. I knew nothing. And this family took care of me through some very tough times. I was honored to get to know Aretha, and she had a great love for sports. She loved the Detroit Pistons, and I know I was her favorite bad boy. But I gotta tell you, there was nothing more inspiring for me to look up and see my mom sitting in the stands, sitting next to Aretha, sandwiched in between Stevie, watching a Piston game. And I would always pause sometimes during a game and just ask myself, I wonder if they knew how many nights they got my mom through and how many tears she shed listening to Aretha's music. And to have my mom sitting right next to Aretha in the stadium was such a powerful and inspiring moment for me. So Aretha, I thank you. And as we mourn her loss today, I'm also reminded that we must celebrate and lift up to the heavens our queen, Miss Aretha Franklin. Because when the world was telling us, ain't no way, she found a way to inspire all of us with hope, with love, and dreams through her music. Her voice her soulful instrument found a way to help this nation soothe and deal with its troubled past. You know, recently, Clive Davis and I had the pleasure of escorting our Queen to the Kennedy Center Honors in Washington, D.C. I was so humbled when she asked me to escort her, but I must tell you, I was kind of nervous too. Because I kept asking myself, how do you escort the Queen? And is there some type of protocol? I didn't want to embarrass her. I didn't want to embarrass myself. But I can still remember when she showed up and she took my arm and we walked the red carpet. And the ease of her stride and the comfort that she felt and the way she introduced me as if I was still and was a family member. Not just a friend, but as part of the family. And Clive, I know you remember, as we're standing there and she's being interviewed, she stopped during the middle of the interview and said, "Do you know Isiah?" She always found a way to make us all feel comfortable and make us all feel good. Not only did she command respect, but she demanded respect. She lived an unforgettable life, and she left all of us with unforgettable memories. I just got back from Paris, France, and I'm sure this has happened to all of you over the last week or so. The spontaneous singing. You may be sitting in a restaurant. You may be in a hotel. You may be walking down the street. And before you know it, somebody is singing Aretha's song. And I know it's happened to all of you this last week. We were in a restaurant, and they started playing her music. And before you know it, everyone in the restaurant was singing and dancing, and they stopped eating. So the effect that she has had on the world, there are very few people who come along that can shift the consciousness of the world. There are very few people that come along that can move the universe by her being. What Aretha has done, she shifted the universe. And she moved us all, not only with her songs, but through her spirit and through her love. And we know her for her songs and we know her for her music. But as we look behind us, it wasn't just about the music. When this family first adopted me and I got here to Detroit, Aretha set me down, her and Coleman Young, Mayor Coleman Young. And they kept asking me, what are you going to do? What are you going to say about Detroit? And they taught me about Detroit. And they gave me the courage to speak on race, class, and gender while I was a champion. I'm going to miss you, Aretha. I'm going to miss our phone calls. I'm going to miss your words of wisdom and advice. The world is going to miss you. I want you to know I love you. The world loves you. And most importantly, Aretha, Detroit loves you. Thank you.